Hello everyone and welcome to episode 4 of MRS TV. My name is Autria Godfrey, your source for everything about the 2020 virtual MRS Spring Fall meeting. Stay tuned. As we start day 4 of the live events, we have a number of opportunities for you to visit with our exhibitors today. Check today's live event schedule for all the exhibitor workshops along with virtual exhibit hours. Before we look at today's live technical sessions, we have a professional development session at 11:30 a.m. Eastern on strategies for coping with the pandemic and creating support structures. If you need a break, check out the virtual magic show from 11:15 to 11:30 a.m. And afterwards, be sure to check the live event schedule for a number of spring meeting poster sessions that will be happening throughout the day. Most of today's live symposium sessions are from the spring meeting. Here's part of what's on tap for today. And these fall meeting sessions. Now let's dive right in and start with an exclusive interview with today's plenary speaker, John Rogers, to learn about his work focusing on developing stretchable and flexible electronic devices that integrate with the soft tissues of the brain. Dr. Rogers, we have spoken with you in the past for having won the MRS Mid-Career Researcher Award and the MRS Medal Award. Congratulations on this honor, as well as having been named to deliver the Fred Kavli Distinguished Lectureship in Material Science plenary address for this meeting.
Yeah, it's a great honor. Yeah, happy to do it.
You've spoken to us a couple of times in the past about your work with flexible, stretchable electronics for biomedical applications. Tell us a little bit about your work and bring us up to date on what's new since we last spoke to you back in 2018.
Yeah, I think the overarching goals around a lot of the research that we do in my group is to develop the material science foundations for classes of electronics that can intimately integrate with biological systems, living systems in general. In many cases with an eye toward human health care, but in others in the context of neurotechnologies that can be used in animal model studies of how the brain works. And I think it's a really rich space for material science research in the context of societal grand challenges ranging from those related to brain science and kind of unlocking the mysteries of how the brain operates to questions around how we deliver healthcare more cost effectively and in ways that improve patient outcomes. And so there's a diversity of topics, I think grounded in materials, but also requiring, efforts in electrical engineering, mechanical engineering, chemical engineering, medical science. And so it's a really rich kind of interdisciplinary space. And we've been pretty active in that area for, the last 10, 15 years.
Obviously, much of the focus right now in the biomedical world is centered around the COVID-19 pandemic. Are there any ramifications in your work in regards to the pandemic, either in applications of your work or effects on your ability to conduct your work?
Well, yeah, both, I would say. In the first area, we're deeply engaged at this point with not only the broader medical community here in Chicago, but even beyond, internationally and in other parts of the U.S. So we became engaged, from the standpoint of leveraging our technologies to, help, manage the pandemic back in March. So prior to that, we were working on a class of device really tailored toward rehabilitation for stroke survivors, many of whom have lost the ability to speak and to swallow. And we were able to put together a soft wireless device. This is one of them here that is unique in the sense that it mounts on a special part of the anatomy known as the suprasternal notch. So it's placed right here at the base of the neck. It has a very high bandwidth tri-axis accelerometer on one end of this platform. And in that way, we can essentially reproduce what a digital stethoscope would measure at that particular location. And COVID-19 is a respiratory disease, and so you really can't capture the key symptoms using conventional wearables that couple to the body at the wrist or the finger, because you're just not in a good position to measure, intrathoracic cavity type processes. And so the medical community reached out to us. They're fairly aware of our devices for monitoring speech and swallowing, and asked whether we could adapt that device to apply to COVID-19, the key symptoms being fever, cough, and shortness of breath. And this is an ideal location to measure those symptoms. I think digital biomarker tracking is going to be important, not only as we manage this pandemic, but looking into the future, associated with, health challenges that we may be confronted with at some time in the future, that these kinds of technologies are going to be very powerful.
Your talk is titled Functional Materials for Bioelectronic Neural Interfaces. Give us a preview of your talk.
The plenary talk is more about our activities in implantable devices, in particular bioelectronic systems that interface with the nerves of the body, either the central nervous system or the peripheral nervous system, so the brain, the spinal cord, or the peripheral nerves. And I think that area is also one that offers a rich range of exciting research opportunities for material science. Advances in material science have really transformed, capabilities in consumer electronic gadgetry over time. And I think materials will be equally impactful in the development of these new classes of electronic devices that are designed to interface with the nervous system of the body. And so that's kind of the topic of the plenary talk, going over different sorts of concepts in nanomaterials and heterogeneous materials integration, manufacturing science, thinking about biocompatibility, biointerfaces, and ultimately, with an eye toward modes of operation that are valuable from the standpoint of biological research or medical care.
Dr. Rogers, thank you so much for your time today.
Great, thank you for having me.
Today we are continuing our highlights of universities and organizations that are doing incredible work in materials science research. Let's take a closer look now at the work being done at the Department of Materials Science and Engineering at the University of Texas at Dallas, where they study cutting-edge materials in world-class facilities.
The mission of the Department of Materials Science and Engineering at the University of Texas at Dallas is to provide the necessary skills to our students to be successful, either in academia, industry, a small startup company or large companies, and also for any government-related jobs, national labs, etc. We have a very specific set of skills that we give our students. Specifically, we do microelectronics, nanoelectronics, energy, and sensors. We have a very strong team here also for simulation. The academic size of our department is about 100 people. We currently have 13 faculty, which gives us a ratio of about 5 students and 2 postdocs per faculty, which is pretty high for any department in the nation. We have been very successful in nanoelectronics in the recent years because of the support from our administration. So we have state-of-the-art facilities that we can share with other professors, with other departments, with other universities.
This includes the clean room for nanofabrication. We have electron beam lithography to make very small structures and devices. We also have a broad range of characterization tools. We also have surface characterization that includes XPX, X-ray photoemission spectroscopy, as well as the master lab, which is materials and surface technology resources. They have access to TACC, which is Texas Accelerated Computing Facilities, that has one of the top 5 supercomputers.
We provide the ecosystem for those students to work together so that they can help us develop our research while they'll develop their set of skills that will, again, make them successful in their professional career. We go all the way from thinking what will be good to make, to studying how we're going to make it, to make it that system, to enabling a new device.
Students from different groups work together, help each other. Their complementary expertise allow us to make scientific breakthroughs, and we have joint publications.
We have very successful faculty that work in industry, and now they are in academic positions. So we can link real-life problems with academic problems. We have projects that span from material science to electrical engineering to chemistry to physics, even with biology, even with art and science. Something that our department also is really good at is the collaboration and relation with industry, not only in the region here in the state, but also national. We have faculty that has collaboration with Texas Instruments, with the Semiconductor Research Corporation, with Applied Material, with Qorvo, with Raytheon, with AT&T. They become a natural sponsor for our research and a natural employers for our students. That's a good synergy to have. I don't think that there is any other department more industry-friendly than the Department of Material Science at UT Dallas.
Because of the top-level facilities, the students can compete with the world's best scientists. And when they come out of the program, they can go to the industry and they are trained on the tools that drive the industry today.
We have students coming from all over the world, from China, from India, from Europe, from South America, as well as locally from Texas. They come here because we offer a program that would help them achieve their career goals.
As a student, we get to collaborate with different industries and companies across the United States, which allow me to grow my professional network, which helped me land my first job.
My experience during my time in the department really helped me to get my job through developing connections with a lot of people in industry and in academics, which really let me feel like I had a choice of where I could go with my career.
I came to UT Dallas because they have a strong background in entrepreneurial research and developing things from the lab to the marketplace. I am developing a better way of making filtration membranes for face masks and respirators, and I'm using a novel biologically derived material. Here at UTD, I've been given the opportunity to pursue that unique line of research and develop it further as far as I can.
I think the greatest aspect here is, I would say, professionalism. Not only the faculty, but also the staff here is really experienced. I learned a lot from them, not only those in the textbook, but also something else. I think these helps me a lot.
My research area is on fully inorganic perovskites. One of the reasons why I feel University of Texas at Dallas is the best place to do that kind of research is because of the facilities and the state-of-the-art equipment where I can basically develop any material with the tools available to tailor my needs.
It's so collaborative. You have people from all different backgrounds, from material science to electrical engineering to chemistry to physics, and they all have different backgrounds that really works well when you're trying to collaborate and come up with new innovative ideas.
We strive to have diversity in our department because diversity brings different perspectives. It brings different points of view, and it brings different opinions. In our department, we do things that matter today and tomorrow. Right now, we're making things that will have an immediate impact in our life, in society. At the same time, we're making things that will have a delay impact in society that you may not feel it, but in 10 years from now, we will say, hey, you know, that new cell phone that you have in your pocket, that's coming from research that we did 10 years ago.
Today, we also got the chance to sit down with meeting chair Chang Chow to talk about what attendees can expect from the virtual meeting. Chang, thank you for your time today. There was certainly a lot of work involved in being an MRS meeting chair. Why did you volunteer for the role?
Well, MRS meeting has been playing an important role in my career. And 2006 MRS 4 meeting was actually the very first scientific conference experience for me when I was a second-year graduate student. But since then, I have been at the MRS conference virtually every year. So when the chance came to volunteer as the meeting chair, I think it would be an invaluable opportunity for me to both serve back the society and also help to continue the legacy of MRS conference. And personally, I learned a lot from my peer meeting chairs, our symposium organizers, and MRS staff. As what I expected in the very beginning, it is indeed a very rewarding experience as an MRS meeting chair.
And in addition to a large number of technical symposia today, a number of exhibitors are giving presentations throughout the day. Tell us about the importance of the exhibit to the meeting attendees.
Well, the exhibit is a critical portion of the meeting. For attendees, right, it gives them the opportunity to find out the latest progress on the equipment and the service vendor side to support and accelerate our research. You will also get the opportunity to talk and network with editors who will actually handle your manuscript. And for this year, we also have something special. So we have special virtual exhibitor workshops to provide more in-depth information in a more interactive online environment. We also even have 6 virtual magic shows. I don't want to be a spoiler here, but I bet they would be very interesting to watch.
Can you tell us about what the Symposium X talk will be about today?
Well, yeah, definitely. Vijay will give his Symposium X talk titled The Golden Age of Materials Innovation from Metal Gate to AI Hardware. Vijay is from IBM Research, and he pioneered the high-k metal gate technology for silicon transistors, and he played a central role from the very early stage of material discovery to development, finally the implementation of this technology in manufacturing. This high-k metal gate material forms the basis of all of our current high-performance microprocessors, as well as those low-power chips we use in our mobile devices. Vijay is currently IBM Fellow and Senior Manager leading IBM's efforts of developing the next generation hardware accelerators for artificial intelligence. And in this talk, he will share with us the latest progress with his pretty unique perspective and expertise on how to convert a fundamental material research into an industry-relevant technology that can be manufactured on large scale toward a multi-billion-dollar business. I believe his talk will be one of the highlights of this conference.
Well, your time as meeting chair has certainly been unique. What have you learned along the way that you would pass along as advice to future MRS meeting chairs?
Well, even without the pandemic, it is a truly lifetime opportunity as MRS meeting chair because you will only be able to do it once in your life. So the advice I would like to give to future meeting chairs is to enjoy this process and try to add your personal marks on this conference. Experimenting with new ideas not only adds a lot of fun to the experience, but also important for the future of the conference and the society. I'm looking forward to the next MRS conference in Seattle, and hopefully at that time, we will be able to meet in person.
Thank you so much, Chang, for joining us.
Thank you.
Now, let's head to the Wake Forest University Center for Functional Materials, where they provide a platform to connect a broad range of materials-focused research groups and support the multidisciplinary research necessary for breakthrough developments. Let's take a closer look.
I'm Hardik Pandey. I am a third-year grad student with the physics department at Wake Forest University.
I'm a fourth-year graduate student in the physics department.
I'm a second-year physics graduate student at Wake Forest University.
My name is Lada, and I'm the second-year graduate student.
I'm the third-year physics graduate student at Wake Forest University.
Wake Forest University, because of its small size, is a truly unique place for collegiality. People are trying to help each other, people are collaborating with each other, sharing equipment. And the physics department is one of the best examples of that collegiality.
The project I work on, the material was synthesized in the chemistry department. The characteristics were done in the engineering department and I model it. Plus our group works with UT Dallas people, Rutgers, and we are also working with theoreticians from University of Oslo in Norway.
Wake Forest invests in world-class research to further its Pro Humanitate mission.
Wake Forest, they have a supercomputer in downtown, so a compute cluster that I use every day.
We have invested in thematic centers such as the Center for Functional Materials, the Translational Science Center, the Center for Nanotechnology, the Center for Energy, Environment, and Sustainability.
In these centers we work on a wide array of materials such as organic electronics, solar cells, biomaterials, batteries, metal organic frameworks, thermoelectrics. These centers really operate on a level above the departments, and that allows us to break down these barriers between various fields. It also allows us to answer really big research questions that a single discipline may not be able to answer.
Nowadays, on the job market, certainly having the tools of working on a team are prized by both university environments as well as commercial entities.
One of the things that I'm really proud of is that a lot of the students who work in interdisciplinary research have to work to communicate their domain knowledge to other people outside of their discipline. They have to improve their communication skills. And this is a very highly marketable skill, regardless of which direction that they take their career.
Unlike some universities, Wake Forest University stresses both research and teaching. And part of teaching is mentorship.
I work with Dr. Timo Thornhauser.
My advisor, Dr. Carroll, was able to give me the opportunity to spend a summer at Los Alamos National Laboratory, where I worked on research that directly translated to what I do here.
I work with Professor Wana Jakascu, and she's an amazing person to work with.
These are relationships that are lifelong relationships. They are and they will be my students all their life.
Nothing is really more satisfying for us than to work closely with our students and to see them succeed.
We have a 96% graduation rate. Many of our groups have 4 to 10 publications per student by the time they graduate. Another very important outcome is also the placement of our students. We are able to place our students in great jobs.
Many of them have gone on to start companies with us, and that part of graduate school is exciting because you don't have to put your ideas on hold for 4 or 5 years. You can start them right here in our own graduate program.
There are so many things amazing about the department. There are endless possibilities.
It's exciting time for the field.
Come check us out, and we are sure you will like what you see. Become a member of the Wake Forest family.
Thanks again for tuning in, and we hope that you enjoy the rest of the meeting today. We will see you tomorrow.